how do you support equality while at the same time working for the CIA? You can't say both. All right, you are listening to The Brown Perspective. Okay, so here we are. Viral CIA recruitment video. Let me play this for you, and then I want to get your reaction.
Okay.
When I was 17, I quoted Zora Neale Hurston's How It Feels to Be Colored Me in my college application essay. The line that spoke to me stated simply, I am not tragically colored. There is no sorrow dammed up in my soul nor lurking behind my eyes. I do not mind at all. At 17, I had no idea what life would bring, but Zora's sentiment articulated so beautifully how I felt as a daughter of immigrants then and now. Nothing about me was or is tragic. I am perfectly made. I can wax eloquent on complex legal issues in English while also belting Guayaquil de mis amores in Spanish. I can change a diaper with one hand and console a crying toddler with the other. I am a woman of color. I am a mom. I am a cisgender millennial who's been diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder. I am intersectional, but my existence is not a box-checking exercise. I am a walking declaration, a woman whose inflection does not rise at the end of her sentences, suggesting that a question has been asked. I did not sneak into CIA. My employment was not and is not the result of a fluke or slip through the cracks. I earned my way in, and I earned my way up the ranks of this organization. I am educated, qualified, and competent, and sometimes I struggle. I struggle feeling like I could do more, be more to my two sons.
I want to pause it right there, just because this feels like an eternity to me.
Wow.
We can play the second half after. I think
After
I need
the
a
initial reaction.
I think I need a break. I need a break from this video, and then I can power through the second half.
Yeah, it's interesting because, I think for me, it's interesting because it's almost like she is connecting to that very liberal, thoughtful part of the Latino community, right? And also I feel like this takes me back to college where you had people who were very activist, very radical, very liberal, and some who were a little bit more moderate, more conservative, but they still feel like they represent the community that have these struggles. And so part of this video, I mean, kind of connecting to that, right? It feels like almost like an open mic, like she's being poetic and saying that, I'm a proud person of color, a proud Latina, and but I'm working at the CIA. I'm doing something that I love, and I'm not taking the victim mentality. I'm empowered. I'm perfect the way I am. So in some ways, it's trying to be unapologetically Latina, unapologetically woman who is chingona, as they say here in the West Coast. So that's my impression, but I know that it's for the CIA. So there's nothing that says more, I'm the establishment. I work with the man, or I am the man, than working for the CIA.
Yeah, this is a contradiction. I don't know if the CIA is doing parody. They're taking a stab at doing comedy now. Is that what it is? Because I don't have. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say it's contradiction, but at the same time, it also is. It could be that you need people with this type of life experience and perspective inside the organization to change it, right? So I know that she may be she may be the only one, right? She may be one of a very few number of people of color at the agency who bring their perspective, who they feel they're being authentic and are trying to do good through the system, right? So
Right.
I think that's the other perspective I see from this video.
But the glaring flaw that I see here is that what is she going to do once she joins the CIA? We know the history of the CIA. This isn't. It's not like she's working for a Facebook or a Microsoft, and then she wants to tell us how proud and independent she is, and she wants to see. Here's the problem: they're essentially co-opting the social justice movement,
Mm-hmm.
intersectionality. They're co-opting all of these things that we on the left value and we think are important, and they're so important to us that that's what's become like the main thing that a lot of Americans are fighting for. But now you have an agency like the CIA that's saying, hey, we support transgender community, we support Latinos too, we support diversity, come and work for us. And then we're just going to so blatantly put it out there and throw it in people's faces that we are inclusive, while at the same time we're destabilizing governments overseas, while at the same time we are interfering with the elections of countries in Latin America that then result in corrupt politicians and in conditions that then lead these same Latinos to have to flee those countries. So we have to come to the
Mm-hmm.
US. And so I don't have a problem with someone that wants to work for the CIA. That's their choice. It could be out of ignorance, or it could be that they feel that they want to make a difference by interfering in other countries' governments, because they might think that in the grand scheme of things, that actually protects us because everyone's a bad guy and we have to go out there and deal with the bad guys and we're the good guys, whatever, right?
Well, maybe they want to stop that from happening and doing it in a way that's better, right?
You,
They're trying to also maybe get to the okay, let's think about a different way that
right,
we
right.
can.
So that was covered in the part where I said maybe they're naive, right? And they
Yeah.
think that they're going to make some type of difference in this ruthless government branch that works and is hidden from public view, and we don't really know what they do, except there's plenty of documented history and books that have been written in terms of how they operate. I'm okay with all that if people want to work there, but don't come at me with some BS promo video that you are for inclusion, that you are for human rights, when your organization is responsible for a lot of chaos around the world.
Okay. I see where you're coming from. And I think it is to an extent they have a particular audience in mind and they have this type of message. And I think all brands do this. But to your point, this is not just any brand, right? This is one of those probably the key government agency. And by the way, CIA, if you're listening, we just
We're,
having a fun conversation. We
we're just quoting the books that have been
we're
written.
expressing we're just exercising our freedom to freedom of expression under the Constitution. But anyways, yeah. But and it sounded like she is a lawyer, somebody who went to, I'm sure, a really good school, an Ivy League school, and she decided that maybe I got this degree and I can use it for something to do some good and maybe try to change the CIA from the inside out.
Let me play the rest of the video and then we can comment on it.
And I struggle leaving the office when I feel there's so much more to do. I used to struggle with imposter syndrome, but at 36, I refuse to internalize misguided patriarchal ideas of what a woman can or should be. I am tired of feeling like I'm supposed to apologize for the space I occupy rather than intoxicate people with my effort, my brilliance. I am proud of me, full stop. My parents left everything they knew and loved to expose me to opportunities they never had. Because of them, I stand here today a proud first-generation Latina and officer at CIA. I am unapologetically me. I want you to be unapologetically you, whoever you are. Know your worth. Command your space. Mija, you're worth it.
Yes, mija, get it,
Oh,
mija.
man. Remember when we did the segment on whether or not we should cancel Latinidad or calling Latinos Hispanic, and then we should just
Or
resort
Latinx.
to, what was that?
Or Latinx.
Or Latinx. And I said, look, ultimately, I don't have a problem if people want to categorize themselves differently. That's on them if it empowers them. But I did say the problem with doing that, with subdividing, is that it's very easy for then for others to come along and exploit those divisions. And so when it comes to the social justice culture, the intersectionality, which in itself, intersectionality is a good thing, right? You want to be able to explain how in society there's differences across race, class, and other forms of privileges. And so, how do we explain how a wealthy billionaire African American is still a victim of racism? Because a lot of people would dismiss it and say, "Oh, well, what's that guy complaining about? He's a billionaire. How can he complain that this country is racist?" But it doesn't work like that. How can you also explain how a poor white American may not have all of the privileges that everyone assumes that all white people have, right? Because that's intersectionality. That's how you explain all those things. So it's a good thing. But it seems like this is what I see as being problematic here is that this promo video it it makes things worse because it's going to divide people, and people that are not paying attention and that are not really looking at it that way. What's going to happen now is you're going to have people like me that are saying, how can you put out this message and think that you're doing good when you then go and represent an agency that works in the dark, that we know has a checkered history of meddling in other countries? And then there's going to be people that are now going to come and defend this, and they're going to be indirectly defending the agency. But more than anything, they're going to be defending this woman's right to be herself and to express herself and to say that she is a qualified individual. And so any attack on this, they're going to perceive it as an attack on her. But it's not. It's the contradiction that you're doing this message, that you're working for this agency, but you can see people online subdividing and getting into fights about this, even people on the left, because the minute that you think that someone's attacking a cisgendered or a Latina minority for coming out and unapologetically say that she's working for the CIA, you're going to have people defending that because they're sensitive to it. But that's not the point.
Yeah, I definitely see what you're saying. And I think one way to counteract that is the fact that I have friends, I have uh, Latina friends who represent both of those communities. And you're right. I mean, in this video, she kind of takes that language, to talks about imposter syndrome. She talks about so many things that I know that my liberal Latinas are all about and that they believe in. And so they certainly kind of speak that same language. But the reality is that yes, you have those activist Latinas who are underground, who are supporting this liberal causes, and then you have Latinas in the establishment, whether they're lawyers, whether they're in government, also trying to make things better for the community. And yes, maybe they're a little more moderate in their views, but they also they're also about empowering themselves, empowering their community, empowering, supporting each other, and supporting each other as women. Because I know for Latinas, it has been hard for them, and it is continues to be hard for them. So for me, is the reality that both of these people are needed and need to be part of of how our community as a whole gets to a better place and addresses some of the structural issues that you referenced that not only plague our community but plague the African American, Asian Americans, Native Americans, and so many others.
How do you untangle the position that she's taking as being someone that wants to be empowered, someone that is pro Latino, pro cisgender, pro disadvantaged group? How do you become anti-imperialist, or how do you support equality while at the same time working for the CIA? You can't say both. I guess that's what I mean. And the friends that you have that do decide to work for the CIA, if that's what they believe in, and again, if they're okay working for the CIA and doing the field work and doing whatever it is that the CIA is going to ask them to do, that's fine. But then you can't come out and say that you're anti-imperialist. You can't, right? You can't have it both ways.
Yeah, and at the same time, if you think about who has worked in the CIA for all that time, it has been white men. So if you have an African American perspective, a Latina perspective on those decisions, they're gonna bring that life. They're gonna bring it on that life experience, And yes, I think it may be a little naive to think that the CIA is not going to do what the CIA is going to do, regardless of who's in there, because it is an institution. They do have an organizational purpose that I think it will be hard to change. But if you don't have people within the inside who can share that perspective and maybe get to a place where you have a CIA light or a more woke CIA, a more respectful CIA, or a government or somebody who can take that experience and then work for a politician and a government to help regulate and bring about some of the changes. Again, you need, as imperfect as the system is, you need people to work within that system to also bring about change while people are demanding change and while we hold institutions accountable.
Right, but that's not the message that this promo video conveys. Because she's not saying, I'm going to go into this agency and I'm going to change it. She's not saying, we know
Well,
that.
that's why she say I'm apologetically me. So that means that she shouldn't be there because normally they wouldn't accept someone like her, but she's there and she's authentically her. So in some ways, it is
But that's just,
that.
right, that's just addressing sexism. That's not that she's not saying, we know this agency has had a troubled past with our countries. This agency is actually one of the reasons why my parents left Latin America, because it destabilized Latin America. So I'm coming in here to change it because I am unapologetically me. Like, she's not saying that. She's making it all about this promo video, not her, because ultimately she's just reading a script. So this promo video is just making it all about identity, about who she is. And obviously it doesn't mention anything about the CIA because they don't want to, because it's a promo video. But right, you see the disconnect there. You see how they use language to try to just evoke certain reactions out of people and make you feel good that yes, finally a Latina in a top position in power, but they leave so much out. They're not giving you the full picture. And that's what I'm saying, that people need to be aware of these things so that they don't get suckered into this promo video. That you have to be aware of where you're going to work, because these guys are not going to tell you.
Yeah, but I think for the most part, I would imagine that someone like her had a fairly good understanding of what the CIA does as well as their history because she is from Latin America and because she was educated in the United States. And I think in order for her to go to law school and to get to the position where she was, I'm sure she knew a little bit of American history and all that stuff. So I think she knew that. So in some ways, she made a conscious decision to work for them. And again, we don't know her motivations, but I think that for the most part, if you are at a point in your career where you're thinking, okay, where can I make a difference and what appeals to me, either because of my personality, my experience, maybe I don't, you know, I don't know. I don't think she served in the military, but she could have, if she was a vet too. You imagine that, a Latina says vet who was working for the CIA, but maybe she was predisposed or inclined to go into enforcement. I think that that's another thing. I think if somebody doesn't know what the CIA does, I don't think there will be I don't think the CIA would be interested in them.
But isn't that even worse? That she knows what the CIA does, yet she chooses not to communicate that at all? Or that somebody censored her, and so she's not supposed to say? So, I mean, that's the whole point, right? That, again,
Yeah, because it's a promo video.
yeah,
It's
what's
not
not
it's not
being...
a documentary on the agency. It's just, hey, we need more people like you. So in some ways, as I know, as bad as it is from your perspective, and you're right, a lot of the things that you highlight are right, but in some ways, it's almost like they're saying, okay, we need people like you. We need people to help us be better. And I know that part of the problem is of what they do.
Mira, this is what it boils down to. Republicans
Okay.
dropping bombs, Democrats, LGBTQ rainbow, Black Lives Matter, and yes, we can, dropping bombs.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the responses. You didn't even
Oh yeah, I
let
read
me
some of
go
these
into this
earlier.
wonderful world of
Yeah, look,
the
this
reason why YouTube exists.
this is the one that I liked earlier. I will join the organization that caused my parents to flee their home country in the first place. Girl power. I
What are
can
some of
hold
the
it.
replies to that one?
I can hold a toddler in one hand and shoot one with another hand. That's terrible. This one says touche because CIA is only an American career. Laughing my ass off. There's countries that shit without our help. Yeah, the CIA does whatever it
Mm.
wants. The CIA is a terrorist organization. Imagine if you met her and this is how she introduced herself to you. I died inside from cringe. I think a mirror broke in my bathroom from the force field created by the cringe. No talk of serving your fellow humans, being a part of something bigger than yourself, rising to the challenge to make the country stronger and safer. Just a woman lifting off her labels and talking about how awesome she is, how man can't keep her down. This is the new CIA. We're screwed. This is absolutely insane. I'm shocked about the stupidity of this, though. You know what YouTube is doing, by the way? They've started
Mm.
removing the comment section from a lot of videos because a lot of these videos get negative reactions like this. But inevitably, you will get liberals and progressives that will defend this promo video because, again, they're going to think that she's being attacked, not the contradiction in this promo video. So anyhow, those are some of the
Well,
reactions. Go ahead.
yeah, but it's interesting because I think a lot of the criticisms that we're reading are about the agency, not so much about her. And
Right.
it's funny because some ways it's pretty ballsy of people commenting so publicly about the CIA in this way, right? Because I'm sure that this is being tracked.
Well,
Um,
they track everything, and so
yeah, so it's funny that and again this is a YouTube video at you comment, but it's funny to see how people's genuine responses to all of this,
and
and
mira,
look at how many people haven't liked
yeah,
it. I
exactly,
guess I guess the agency maybe wanted to this is their what they call that their testing
yeah.
is
You
where
know,
they piloted the promo and like, oh yeah, this is not gonna be good.
you know what they might do in a few days is they'll remove the comments and then they'll remove this section too because they don't
Mm.
want people to see that. And this is like Colombia, right? Where the we were just talking about the Colombia, how the government was trying to persuade people to accept higher taxes, yet the people are not falling for it. And so very similar here. I think people are seeing through this and saying, "Wait, what's going on here?"
Yeah, well, yeah, and I think to differentiate, and I think yes, and I think in some ways maybe they won't remove it, and maybe this won't happen because I think that is true that one of the things that we value here in the United States is to be able to comment and share our opinion.
YouTube said
Um,
that. That's what YouTube said that they're going to start doing that. That's what YouTube
oh, are they
officially
going
said
to do
that.
it?
Yeah.
So it's official. Oh, that's sad because I know I was gonna say how unfortunate it's been that Twitter and YouTube and other social medias, how they also have, what's happening in India.
Hmm.
I know they took down posts that were offensive to the country. Obviously, it happens in China. Yes, it happens in Colombia. It happens here in the United States. So, in some ways, that's sad that this type of dialogue, free and open dialogue, is not allowed to happen. And in some ways, when you don't let it happen and when you don't address the issues is when you have the type of situation that's happening in
Yeah.
Colombia and that happened throughout the countries. I mean, it happened in the US last summer.
Hmm.
It's happening across the world. So there's a lot of people not happy right now
Yeah, the
across the
movements
world.
just go underground. And by the way, I'm not saying that they came out and said they're gonna stop doing this for all the videos. They said that they were gonna do an experiment, and so they're gonna choose videos randomly, supposedly random. But I have a feeling that most of Joe Biden's videos or some of these videos that have a whole bunch of thumbs down, those are the ones that are gonna eventually end up with these sections being removed. So, all right, let's leave it at that. Thanks for the conversation. We'll wrap it up. If you all out there like listening to our content, make sure to check us out. We are Brown Perspective. We are on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. Nos vemos.
Ciao.